This is Majo John Madden. They call me Juanito in Mexico, where I just was and where I intend to return. But right now I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, which is a pretty special place. It's mountains. Mountains. You got mountains everywhere. I think that's Bowcatcher Mountain. I'm staying in the Bowcatcher Hotel, which is down there, but you can't see it right now. Mountains. Mountains. This hotel wasn't here 5 years ago when I left. It's been built since. I'm not liking it much. There's mountains over there. Mountains back there. When I left Asheville, North Carolina for the high mountains and spent a year up in Appalachia, it was so beautiful. It was so quiet. So quiet out there. You could hear the crickets and hear the birds and hear someone on the next mountain talking. But sometimes someone would rev up a motorcycle or a weed whacker, and I'd say, "Oh, you're wrecking my peace of mind." Then I remembered that back in Chicago, in the western suburbs of Chicago, I had studied the science of spirituality, where they taught you to listen for the spiritual sound and look for the spiritual lights. So out there in the mountains, the way I interpreted that was the spiritual sound. The way you get to God through the spiritual sound is to not judge anything you hear. And I decided that the weed whackers and the motorcycles were the baseline, and the natural sounds and the streams, which I love so much, were the treble clef. I just took them all. Take it all. Similarly with vision, I started to practice not judging anything I saw. Then I went down to South Texas, and on the fabulous beaches of South Padre Island, I practiced just taking on a benign view of the world. I'd walk down the beach and just bless everything I see, everybody, everything I saw. Got down to Mexico, where I spent 2 years in Mexico. It's a lot quieter down there. They don't use weed whackers, they use machetes to clear the underbrush. They don't use, in the little town where I spent 10 months, Acumao, on the Riviera Maya, when they repaired the roads, they didn't use jackhammers, they used pick and shovel. It took longer, but provided work for people, and it was so quiet. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I came out here and someone was running a weed whacker. I've been sick for 6 months. For 6 months, I was scared. I had gotten a whole lot less scared. I was pretty much not scared of anything. But I got scared of renal failure. Went 6 months unable to pee. I was scared that I would die. I got told by a doctor in Playa del Carmen that I was dying. It was not accurate. And I was afraid I'd never get out of a catheter. I heard stories of people, I'm 79, people who had to use a catheter the rest of their lives. But I came back to Asheville, where there are good doctors. They backed up. It took 7 weeks to get MRI results, but when they came back, they said, "You don't have any cancer in your prostate. It's huge. It's squeezing the urethra so you can't pee. But there's a surgery we can do. We don't have to take out the whole prostate. We just hollow it out, and it collapses and stops pressing on the urethra. And you will pretty likely be able to pee and have all your functionality back." And they did that surgery on September 2. I had to wait 9 days for them to take they put me on a catheter again. When I went to the doctor here in Asheville, he said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm nervous as a cat," because 3 times before doctors had tried the same thing to get me off of the catheter, and I never was able to pee. But I'm peeing like a champ. All my functions are back, so I'm healthy. And it's extraordinary. It's a miracle. But that miracle is receding enough into background that some of those habits of being afraid have continued. And when I'm afraid, I judge things. I judge that weed whacker. I said, well, 5 years ago in the mountains, what'd you learn? Don't judge anything you hear. Don't judge anything you see. I'm not perfect at it, but it's a much better way to live. It's a much, much better way to live.